A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee, on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook and on the free Odyssey app.
Hour number 2. See Sparky Fifer filling in for Mason Crosby. He's hanging out in Green Bay. If you see him, say hi. Tommy Wirtz here, producing as always. Thunder hasn't been here all week. He is working the comfy shift, 11 to 2 out at the Wisconsin State Fair outside of the Expo building, where he'll go through 3 shirts today, as he will be sweating through everything because yesterday, I think it was like a real feel of 96 at the State Fair when I was there yesterday afternoon from 2 to 5. Be out there again today. And I think it's supposed to be warmer today than it was yesterday, actually, Tommy. Yeah. So it's going to, yeah.
But to be fair, we've gotten very lucky with the weather there over this past 7 days. I mean, this is really the first day where it could be like, okay, this is hot or uncomfortable hot. The previous 6 days that we've been there, it's been awesome.
We have Van Yeager, who is a vocal artist, but he also works for our promotions team. Well, his dad is the director of facilities at Wisconsin State Fair. We had him on in the last segment yesterday. And the one thing I pointed out to him was, yeah, they've redone the dairy building, which is great. They've redone the bathrooms, which is great. They've done all of that stuff, right? But the biggest thing on days like this, where it's blazing hot and the sun's just beating on you, is they've added so many more areas with shade where you can get and escape the sun. Back in the day, I mean, for the last, I don't know, my whole life up until these last couple of years, you either had to go in the Expo building, the Product Pavilion, or the Cream Puff building in order to get out of the sun. Otherwise, there was nowhere else to hide, man. There was nowhere else. Now they've planted trees. They've put up those sunshades. They've built a whole shaded area on the main concourse behind the stands and stuff heading towards the gaming zone area or whatever they call that down there at that other end. They've done so much to try and help people escape the sun, and it's just a huge improvement.
Yeah, I mean, are you surprised? The Wisconsin State Fair just remains elite. It's always like that.
I love the State Fair. Like I said yesterday, it's my second favorite thing. My first thing is the toy drive that we do by far and away. That is a leading full week after Thanksgiving, collecting toys for Children's Wisconsin every year. But I love the State Fair. That's probably my second favorite thing to go and be a part of. And the family's coming out there today. They were out there last Friday night. So we'll get to walk around, and the kid will get to do the Aqua Massage again in the Expo building.
He's all Aqua Massage now,
he's
right?
all Aqua Massage. Yeah. He did it for the very first time last Friday. He's been asking to go back every day since then. Can I go back again?
He's like 9. What does he need a massage for? What's all stressful on him?
Nothing, but it is so awesome, man. I'm telling you all. I was trying to get Tim Dillard to go in there and do it yesterday after you did the interview with me yesterday afternoon. Yeah. I don't want to go out.
Really? He's like if Aqua Massage could be a person, it is Tim Dillard.
Yeah, but I think because it's like a suntan bed. It closes on top of you, and then your face like looks down at the floor like through this hole they cut out. And I think some people that are maybe claustrophobic or whatever may not dig it. I don't know what his deal is, but yeah, he wasn't interested. I'm telling you, though, you like it. All right, so let's talk about what's coming up this hour. We are going to talk more about the Brewers coming up in segment number 2. In the third segment, we always do in case we missed it or whatever on Wisconsin Sports Daily. And I got a bunch of stuff I want to play for y'all from all over the world of sports from the last couple of days coming up at 10:40. Kind of like a Charlie Sounds of the Day from my show. We'll do like Sparky Sounds of the Day or whatever at the end of the show. I want to start out talking about Jordan Love, the Packers quarterback. And I know where everybody talks about Jordan Love. I get it. But I'm always on the hunt trying to find any interviews that Jordan Love does with whoever he does it with to see what we can dig up that maybe nobody else has seen or come across. And he did a podcast. I'm pretty sure this is a podcast. Or is it a show? Is that Kevin Clark's show? Maybe it is
This
a show.
Is football?
Yeah.
I think it is a show now, but it started
show,
as a podcast.
Yeah, yes. He was on with Stephen A. the other day for the first time on ESPN. And Stephen A. just was making fun of Kevin Clark's nerdy self, and it was kind of funny. But anyways, so he had a chance to sit down with Jordan Love, and Jordan Love, he asked him to kind of self-scout himself, kind of from, last year to this year, what he needed to work on.
I think it's just taking that next step, like continuing to keep growing myself and just find ways to get better and keep improving on things. So I think a big focus for me is just the consistency, trying to be the best player I can be every play with my footwork and accuracy. And then obviously I think just continue to create more plays and make more off-schedule plays and use my legs a little bit more when things might be a little bit broken down. But I think just continue to build on the little things and keep stacking.
What did you see on tape when you watched yourself last year that either you say, okay, I'm honing in on this? Like, just give me a self-scout for Jordan Love 2024.
Yeah, no, I think from last season, the biggest thing was accuracy. I think there was some just inconsistency with the accuracy and things like that where balls that, keep you up at night where it's like, man, I could have easily made this, and it might be just something's wrong with my feet. Maybe I'm not opening up enough or following through. So just little things. But I think the biggest thing is just I feel like I wasn't creating as many off-schedule plays last season. Obviously I was dealing with some injuries, different things like that, but I think that's a big part of my game that I got to get back into.
Yeah, obviously you get hurt in week one, and all of a sudden the ad-lib stuff, it can go. That's that's the first thing to go, right? When you're talking about mobility and all that stuff. Sure. So how do you get back to that where you're able to make the off-schedule stuff, knowing that you're not even going to know what you need until the heat of battle?
100%. I think it's just trying to push yourself in practice. I think the main goal for me is trying to make every situation in this game like as possible. So if the rush is getting there, try and find ways to get up out of there. It keeps training the receivers on what to do and our scramble drill mechanics. And when they see me get off schedule, to keep working for me and keep making those plays. So I think it's just making an emphasis on focusing on it in practice and making those off schedule plays.
Yeah, I was going to say, part of it, like I remember talking to Mahomes about this years ago, and Veach and those guys, like you have to either scout for a type of receiver who can make those ad-lib plays or just develop chemistry with these guys here. Like, how do you develop that chemistry with those receivers so hey, when I go here, you go here?
Yeah, it's all developing that chemistry, and it comes from reps. We do it in our group install period when there's no defense out there. And then obviously once you get a defense out there, it's just being on the same page. Yeah. Like if somebody's on your back, push up a little bit, come back down, or throw a hand up. And so it's all the little body language to, tell me where you might be going so we are on the same page. But it's just reps.
There he is, Jordan Love, talking about, making some more plays when things break down and creating something more than maybe he did last year. My question is simple. What do you think is the biggest part of Jordan Love's game that has to improve this year? He says off-script plays. That's what he wants to work on. That's what his focus has been this offseason. What do you think it is? Real nice and simple question. Nikolai Love, Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Don't forget, you can stream us live on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff on YouTube. All of our local shows are there. Check out all the different shorts, the videos, all that fun stuff while you're there as well. I will say that I think part of the reason why his off-script struggled a little bit, there was two reasons. Number one, he was playing hurt most of the year. That's the first thing. Can't move as well. Can't be as mobile as you want to be. And the second thing is, after you throw a pick every single game to start the year, and it's at like 7 or 8 games, whatever it got to, you start to get a little gun shy probably about not wanting to throw another one and becoming more conservative. And I'm sure that Matt LaFleur was like, hey, man, like, we can't be turning over the ball every game, Jordan. Like, I love you, but you are not putting us in good positions here by turning over the ball. If it's not there, then throw it away, whatever, but don't be forcing stuff. So I think he became way more conservative in the second half of the season. You didn't see him even attempting the throws that he took in the second half of his first year, right? And they really relied more on that running game and Josh Jacobs to really carry this offense more so than they did the previous year when it was all about Jordan Love in the second half of the season. So now when you go into this season, these off-script plays, I'll give you an example. They ran this like speed keeper play or whatever they called it yesterday in the red zone. They never run that in a game that I can remember ever watching Jordan Love run it. And he scored against a Packers defense in training camp practice doing it. That's something you have not seen from Jordan Love. I think, and it's kind of with Jordan, but it's not, which is I want to see him run more. That's what I want to see, right? And I'm not saying he's got to be Lamar or Josh Allen or nothing like that, but I wouldn't mind seeing, 4, 5 runs, maybe a game, and they don't even have to be design runs. It can just be nobody's there, so I'm taking 10 yards down the middle of the field and sliding. Like, to me, I'm good with that versus him patting the ball for 5 or 6 seconds, running around sideways, trying to wait for a receiver to open up. If it's there, run. Go do your thing. That's what I would like to see more of from Jordan Love. The other thing that I think needs work and needs improvement is his deep throws have got to get better. Like, that to me is probably one, and then the legs is probably two. The deep throw accuracy, that would be what I would have told Jordan Love I want him to work on in the offseason, Tommy.
Yeah, I think that the deep ball actually was going to be one of my forefront thoughts as well. I don't know. Maybe we were spoiled with Brett and Aaron, I think, where you just knew when Aaron Rodgers did that little hitch in his step right before we threw it, it was, who's down there, right? It was always just, he sees it, and you're now just guessing who's the one who's going to make the catch, whether it was Jordy, Devontae, James Jones, whoever, you name it, right? Greg Jennings, something along those lines. But also, I think that decision-making is something that we need to see a little more out of from Jordan Love, just from a consistency standpoint, because some of his best throws last year, you remember when we were watching the Rams game, he had that throw where he was going to get a safety, so he tried to throw it, and then he ends up throwing the pick six where he's falling down, right? Yep. Well, earlier in that game, maybe one of his best throws of the season was that ball to Jaden Reed, I believe it was, in triple coverage, where everyone was like, what a throw from Jordan Love, but really I think you probably could have said, what terrible defense from the Los Angeles Rams in that situation as well. I do love Jordan Love. I think he is a very talented quarterback, and I do think that he is closer to the top than he is to the bottom in the NFL for sure. I just would like to see a little more confidence in the decision-making from Jordan Love, because sometimes I think Jordan Love, in the back half of last season, maybe becomes a little too conservative. And the other one that we talked about with, I believe it was Aaron Nagler on the Pack-A-Day radio show, he's just got to know when plays are over, right? I mean, that was something that Aaron was elite at. He would take the sack, he would get the ball away. The ball was not getting in the other team's hands after a play was over. And Jordan Love, I think that goes into decision-making. Got to know when a play is over, and it's just not going to work.
Correct. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that. You and I talked about this before when we were doing postgame last year. He's not going to throw 4 interceptions in a year. He's not going to be Aaron, right? You just don't want him to be Brett either. So you want him to be somewhere in there. I mean, if he averages, 11 or 12 interceptions a year, I don't think that's end of the world stuff. I think I can live with that. I think
you can bump the number up to 15 even. If it's one a game, but he's got 2 touchdowns to 1 interception, I think you're fine with that, right?
I think somewhere in that area of for me personally, somewhere in that 11, 12, 13 area, somewhere around that area, that's probably where he's going to live year to year. We'll see. Maybe we'll be wrong. Maybe he'll be better than that. Hopefully he's not worse than that. Kind of going forward. But if this offense is going to be based around run, if it's going to be based around play action, if it's going to be based around him not throwing the ball 40 times a game, his interceptions number should be down just because he's not going to have as many attempts either, Tommy, as Brett did, as Aaron did.
That's a great point, too. I do think the offense is slowly, maybe more aggressively this offseason changing into a run-first offense with the Green Bay Packers. So I do think that is a good point. Maybe the number at 15, probably not as healthy if the offense is more based around Josh Jacobs as opposed to being around Jordan Love. So yeah, then I think that number of, anywhere from 10 to 13 would be a great sweet spot for Jordan Love. And really, I don't think there's much to change about, we just talked about culture at the beginning of this show. I think that everyone really does buy into Jordan Love on this team. So I think that's also a very positive for the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. And I think the arm talent's there as well. So I don't really necessarily see anything to complain about there. It's a lot more intangible stuff, I think, with Jordan Love that you want to see improvement on in 2025.
Important PSA for our listeners. Mason Crosby Show is also a podcast. You can find us anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your pods at. Catch the full episode. Listen by individual hour. Jump straight to the highlights. Just open up your favorite podcast app, search The Mason Crosby Show, and hit the follow button so you get every minute of the show your way on your time. Don't forget, coming up here at 11 o'clock, Thunder at the Fair with Mitch Thunder Nellis coming up today from 11 to 2, and then I'll be out there with Wisconsin Sports Daily from 2 to 5. Our guy, Drew Wagner of Forbes Sports, he'll join us as we go inside the clubhouse at 3:20, brought to you by Focus Baseball. Coming up next, we talk more about the Brewers, and we've been talking quite some time about the mastery of Chris Hook as a pitching coach, right? As my buddy likes to say, turning water into wine. From no matter what pitcher you give them, they're instantly better as soon as Chris Hook gets his hands on them, right? It happens time and time and time again. There's a track record. Is there a track record being built for hitters? We'll talk about that coming up next. The Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky filling in for Mason and Thunder.